Good morning, everyone. Verena Weber here. And for those of you who don't know me, I am on a mission to empower more women in tech, build their self-employed wonderland, and leave the corporate cage to live life on their own terms and do work with impact. And yeah, you might be wondering why I'm saying good morning, because I know that in Germany it's already afternoon, but currently I am in West Palm Beach, Florida, because I'm attending Business Mastery. And as you can see, we have amazing weather here, palm trees outside the window, um, blue sky, sunshine, so it's really nice, but it's also really hot. Anyway, but I'm not here only for the sunshine and the palm trees, like I said. I'm actually here to attend Tony Robbins' Business Mastery live here in the West Palm Beach Convention Center. And today is day two. And I wanted to come on here and share my insights from day one, as promised. Yeah, and originally the plan was to go live after the event yesterday, but that didn't happen because we started at 10 a.m. in the morning and then finished at like past midnight. So I was not able to think straight anymore and decided to, okay, I'm just gonna do it in the morning before we now start again at 9:45, which is in a little bit more than half an hour. Uh, yeah, I'm still feeling tired, but um, yeah, slowly getting better, definitely. Much better than when the alarm clock first went off. But like Tony says, exhausted but victorious. So pushing my limits here. But now let's actually, yeah, come to the insights that I've had from yesterday. So day one was a lot about psychology. And I think often people totally forget how important psychology is, especially in Germany. We're not really, yeah, I think we're not really used to this personal development growth thing. We are usually very focused on learning technical skills, improving what like acquiring technical knowledge, understanding how we can do things, and very much focused maybe on strategy, but we don't really work on our psychology. And yesterday, really, the majority of the day was working on psychology. I mean, did talk a little bit about the life cycles that a business goes through, and he compared the business life cycles to the stages of a human, right? So you go from birth to toddler to teenager to young adult, and then midlife, and potentially finally death. But otherwise, it was really just psychology. And why is that? Well, because we often, if we put ourselves in the right state, if we tell ourselves the right stories, if we incorporate the right belief system, almost everything becomes possible. And he always says, when you put yourself in the right state, when you work on your psychology, when you're in the right psychology, you're either gonna find the right strategy or you're gonna create it. And this is where we often go wrong. And this is where I went wrong when I left or wanted to leave the corporate world, right? Gosh, I mean, it didn't happen overnight for me, for sure. It was a long process of mindset work, listening to podcasts, and then eventually also understanding how it can work. And I think one of the mistakes I also made was, I mean, it was really understanding the how very deeply, right? Before you make a first move, always trying to figure out how things going to work. How, instead of, okay, I'm working on my belief system, I'm working on my state. And then I trust that I can figure out the how. I have confidence. I have self-belief that I can figure out the how and I can make it work. And I don't need to know every single step in advance because even if you think you do, right, things don't necessarily go as planned. I mean, we all know that, right? You can create a plan, but often things don't come as we thought they would. And then you anyway need to figure things out. So instead of trying to create this illusion of certainty before making a move, it's much better to create this certainty from within, the certainty in yourself that you can actually do it, you can handle it, you can figure it out. And for me, yeah, when I was trying to leave the corporate world, I mean, I did, of course, work on my psychology. And if I had not worked on my psychology, I would not have left. I would still be in my corporate job because I had a very huge need for certainty, for security. I was raised that financial security in a way that very much valued financial security. The only way that I saw to make money was to have a job. For me, if you had told me 5 years ago that I would be self-employed today, I would have laughed at you. It's like, no way, not me. That's not that's not who I am. That's not what I can do. It was it was completely impossible to me at some point. But also it took me quite a long time to to build to this point where I could actually leave. Because I was trying to create this kind of certainty, certainty that everything would work, certainty of how exactly I would do it, and um, yeah, just getting too focused on every single detail instead of making the move and then trusting that I can figure it out and uh, trusting that I can learn as I go. And I mean, I had to anyways, right? I mean, there were certain things that I planned and that worked out as planned, and that was good. But definitely, there were a lot of things that I didn't expect, and I just had to figure out as I went. And now looking back, this was a great experience because it just made me so much stronger in my self-belief. Just knowing, okay, I can handle it. I don't need to know every single detail, every single step. I can just figure out things as they go to a certain extent. And it's really much more about building this trust in yourself, this certainty within, because that is what eventually gives you freedom. Tony Robbins also says, your life is found between your fears and your desires. Right. So there's this one, on the one hand, there are our desires. There's the kind of life that we want, the kind of things we want to do, the things we dream of. But then what is holding us back are the fears on the other side. And whether you can eventually realize your desire or not very much depends on how well you can handle these fears, these mental blocks that are holding you back. And handling fear doesn't mean you are fearless. Handling fear just means you can hold the fear, you can feel the fear in your body, and then you couldn't do things anyway. It doesn't hold you back. It doesn't stop you from making a move. And that this is what eventually courage is, right? It's not the absence of fear, it's just knowing how you can handle it and putting you in a state where you have a new belief and trust in yourself and you know you can make it work even if it gets uncomfortable, right? That doesn't mean things are always easy and you know you're just smoothly cruising through the water. This also means that you know you can handle difficult things, and this is exactly also what he said yesterday, right? Business in general is about expanding your capacity, expanding your threshold. So over and over, getting better at the things you can handle. Because, there will be things that will happen that you feel are outside of your ability to control. So things that make you feel uncomfortable, things you haven't handled before, things that might feel overwhelming when you have to do it the first time. Like, for example, when I left the corporate world, I was very much scared of all this accounting and testing that you then need to do. But then you expand, right? You do it, you maybe get some help to figure it out, and then it becomes easy. I mean, now I don't even understand why I was so worried about it. It's actually super straightforward, right? And this is exactly that, expanding your capacity, expanding your threshold, being able to handle more and more things. And that is what it eventually builds confidence, makes you stronger, and makes you able to walk with fear and go after your desires more and more and more. And this is all psychology. And when you have this kind of psychology, right, when you know you can handle things, when you know you're resourceful, when you know you can, even if you can't do it alone, you can get the right people to support you, can almost do anything. Not maybe from, I mean, of course, you're not going to become a billionaire overnight or a millionaire, but you can build it and you can get there eventually. Yeah, so this were the biggest insights from yesterday. Great reminder how important psychology is, and that in the end, it's really just that, or to a large extent, that is what people separates, right? Also, yeah, one more thing, the ability to deal with rejection and failure. Because of course, not everything's gonna go right. Of course, there will be difficult things. Of course, there might things that you feel like you failed, but then can you just keep going? Can you try again? Can you not make that mean something about yourself? Can you not then say, oh, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. Doesn't work. And you just say, okay, this is part of success. Let's try again. What can I learn from this? How can I get better? Yeah. And this is then what eventually will get you where you want to go. Okay. I think that's all what I wanted to share for today. We're now heading over to the Palm Beach Convention Center for day 2. I think today is going to be more about the strategy, so the last 20%. And I will share more insights on my Instagram during the day, and then also come on live here either tonight or tomorrow morning again. So thank you for watching and see you soon.